One of the biggest talking points right now is, of course, the transfer portal and the transfer portal windows that are currently open. It's been a wild, wild west, and we've seen the most amount of transfers enter the portal this year than any other year previously. Not unexpected, but that's just the way it is. Now, of course, right now we got the winter portal and then after the spring games portal that are open for players to enter the transfer portal and communicate with coaches. We know that hasn't been followed, though. There's been tons of tampering. There's been tons of players moving and being talked to during the season. We had some players quit mid-season last year. UNLV's quarterback, for example. So there's an element of chaos that needs to be reeled in if this thing is going to get under control. From what I've heard, and polls have been taken, the majority of D1 coaches prefer the transfer portal window to be open during the winter, if we're getting down to one transfer portal window, which is the aim of these talks and conversations that have been going on in the college football world with the decision makers and all these people who make the college football world move. And I see the logic behind it too as well, because the only thing going on in January is obviously new enrollees are coming in, but the playoffs are going on now, the extended playoffs. So it hurts about 12 teams and obviously down to 6 teams that it'll affect negatively, where the majority of, I think it's 134 Division I FBS teams now, possibly even up to 140 now, where the majority that won't affect massively because they're not in the playoffs. They're not competing for the playoffs. And a lot of transfers are going up. And a lot of transfers are leaving these big-time programs and going down to smaller schools. They also want them there for those practices, that take place postseason. These coaches of the majority of the teams that aren't making the playoffs want their players getting acclimated to college, getting ready for school, have them for 8 months before the season starts instead of just post-spring practices where all they've got to rely on is the weight room and classes, and then getting the bulk of the majority, of learning the scheme and the offense or the defense, depending on which side of the ball you're on, in fall practice and fall camp. That's not the time when you learn scheme. That's what I understand that is done in the spring. Ryan Day said it multiple times. The fall is implementing the new playbooks and things like that nature, but scheme is learned in the spring. Now, Ohio State's athletic director has actually come on and said he prefers the spring portal window over a winter window. And I get it because, let's be honest. Ohio State is going to be in the playoffs the majority of the seasons, going forward, if not every single season. A fireable offense if you miss the playoffs, essentially. So I certainly get why he's advocating for the spring window. It benefits Ohio State more. They can focus solely on the playoffs. Of course, there's recruiting and things to be wrapped up with the second signing day period that goes on in February. It's basically extinct because it's December now is the main signing day. But yeah, it benefits Ohio State to have a spring portal window. But I definitely prefer the winter window. I think there's massive benefits, like I mentioned, getting acclimated to school, going through those winter workouts together as a team, then going through spring ball together. I mean, that's what makes sense for the majority of college football teams. Does it benefit Ohio State the most? Probably not, because we're going to be playing in the playoffs the majority of these seasons and making deep runs majority of these seasons. But that's my take on it. What do you guys think below? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you prefer a winter window for transfer portal if we're going down to one, or a spring portal window? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go Bucks and God bless. We'll see you on the next one.